From blurriness to clear.
Welcome on in a Saturday edition of the show. Our B's going on a little bit of a vacay. We got the NFL draft rounds 4 to 7. Let's go. Welcome on in the NYMD podcast. Kevin Hurt right here on Saturday. We went back to our roots almost to our Saturdays, and you can tell Saturdays are so much better for me because I have way more energy today than I normally do. I just want the music playing in the background for a little bit. Got a lot to talk about, go through on this Saturday. Definitely 999% sports oriented because so much going on this week. We're here, of course, on StreamYard, YouTube. Subscribe and like, and NYMD Podcast. Of course, we are also on Facebook, IG, and Elon Musk's Twitter, as well as on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find us, the NYMD Podcast. B, what is up?
Oh, man, Hurt. I am free. I finally feel like myself.
I am free to do what I want at any old time. Cool.
So yeah, I just oh man, this just feels so good, man. I just feel like myself again. And I'm just pumped, man. I'm pumped because this week was NFL draft week.
Yeah.
Round 3, day 3 is about to start in about an hour.
Yeah.
You know, our teams are reloading.
Yeah.
You know, our baseball teams maybe not so. Well, at least mine. Maybe
Speak
not
for yourself, brother.
But no, man. Hey, look, man. It's good to be alive, Hurt. It's good to be alive, man.
Yes. Yeah. What a day.
Yes.
Be alive. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, I just feel like we got a lot to talk about, man. Especially
lot.
Yeah. Especially with this draft.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Now the draft wasn't even the biggest news for me today.
Oh, okay. What's up?
The biggest news for me, of course, by far, not even close to anything else.
Can I guess?
Say it again.
Can I try to guess?
Yeah, sure.
Arsenal has a new owner.
No, that's no. And not even that. I would rather have the Commanders have a new owner
right
than Washington. But no, I wish I wish there was we would have a new owner. But no, it's this story coming up here.
Oh,
no!
Let me see. New York Mets Tyler Miguel and 4 relievers combined.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, is this the first no-hitter in Mets history?
Obviously, it's the second.
Oh, Tom Seaver?
No. What? Wow, what's wrong with you?
Johan.
Thank you. I was thinking, what's wrong with you? Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, so happy.
Oh, you did it against the Phillies.
That's even better. That's even better, man. And we did it at home. The crowd was amazing, going crazy. My first place, knocking on wood, Mets right now. I'm very happy, ecstatic, over the moon. it's just having a no hitter at home is a lot. Again, we still had the best record in baseball, 15-6.
Wow. Okay.
Blanking the Phillies at home, blanking them, no hitting them, of course, feels tremendous. So now Marlins are actually right behind us at 11-8. But
the Marlins, wow.
The Marlins, yeah. So I'm happy, I'm excited. We're not in last place like other teams, but hey, and you know what? We both had the number 6. So there's always some synergy between, we had the little orange. I got the orange here today. For the, between the Mets and the Orioles. We got, you're a former manager, is our manager.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 6 wins, we got 6 losses.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Bordick, all those type of things that go together. So, but yeah, man, I'm ecstatic, over the moon. But the Angels are 14-7 as well. So I know we talked about. I can't believe I left my baseball cards at work.
The Angels are 14-7.
The Angels are 14-7.
Wow, we almost swept them.
Yeah, well, you were a couple of their losses, so they would have been, if they didn't see you guys. But after they went there, they've been on a 6-game winning streak.
Okay.
So,
okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So baseball was back, folks. Of course, but I'm excited again. When my team's good, it electrifies the whole city, and we're way better than that other team in the Bronx. So that's just my opinion. Even though they're 14-6.
Yeah, they're hitting their stride. They swept us. I think.
I wish we played you guys. Shoot.
Yeah, I think they had double-digit. Seems like they had double-digit runs every time we played them. Whereas the first time around, they barely hit off us. We took 2 out of 3. They swept us. Now we're playing the Red Sox. They beat us 3-1 last night. But we had a major league debut of one of our pitching prospects that pitched well, Kyle Bradish, who we got in the Dylan Bundy trade. Speaking of the Angels, he was one of the pitchers we got in that trade, and he's been tearing it up. And he had a great major league debut. But unfortunately, we could not score any runs, except for your boy Ryan Mountcastle, who hit the ball, who was the first person to hit a home run over the new and improved left field wall. So, yeah.
And it was even cool because Mountcastle is now on my fantasy team as of like an hour and a half ago. So,
and speaking of 6, I believe that is his number. So,
no, see, there we go. Now I don't know about the 3 6s we just said. I don't want to go through that. I'm gonna be moving on because now you just ruined everything for me.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. So just excited about baseball. Just happy. Of course, it's always exciting when your team's doing well. It's always exciting when you have the number 1, minor league system in all of baseball as well, because you're gonna have debuts hopefully as the season goes along, as the team starts striving. There's something to look forward to. So that's even better. But moving on, of course, we got playoffs. We're going to get to the playoffs because a lot of happy things happen for me in the playoffs this week when it comes to NBA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the NFL draft started Thursday night.
Wow, man.
Some intrigue, some heartache, some, WTH moments.
Yeah.
Your team, some other teams trading back, some teams trading up, some teams hitting home runs, some teams striking out, man. Where's your thoughts on the first 3 rounds so far of the NFL draft? All
right. Well, let's start with the first round. Let's break this down. Let's start with day 1 in the first round. Some of the things I like. I like the fact that Aiden Hutchinson, the number 2 pick in the draft, defensive end out of Michigan, he's going to Detroit. Like that.
Well, yeah, because he's staying at home.
Yeah, and
now I believe he should have went number 1.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, I feel like he's more. Now I know Trayvon has an upside that could be higher, and I know he moved around, but I think the first decision when it comes to the Jaguars, I feel like you need to have a team that has stability, not projects. Not saying that this guy's a project. I mean, he could be a stud. Honestly, we all know that. I mean, it's not like there was a lot of separation between him and Hutchinson. But, this guy you're going to have to work with, where Hutchinson, I think, is a ready-made product when it comes into the NFL.
Yeah.
So, all right, go ahead. Keep going.
No. So, I like that. I like what the Jets did, man. I think the
Jets were having a ball on draft day.
Yeah, man, they wound up having 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And
they got Sauce.
They got Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Island from Cincinnati, cornerback. They got Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from the Ohio State University. And, of course, they got the best pick out of all of them. That's a defensive end from Florida State University, Mr. Jermaine Johnson. So this dude's stud. He's going to be chasing down Tua, Mac Jones, and boy up in Buffalo, whose name I always forget for some reason.
Josh Allen. But
there you go, Josh Allen. Thank you.
Yeah. But no, man, I think the Jets did good, man. I like what they did. I'm trying to think what else. Let's talk about the Steelers real quick, man. They really okie doke everybody. They were telling anybody who would listen, man, how much they love Malik Willis. And what did they do? They picked
the hometown kid.
Yeah, quarterback out of Pittsburgh, man, Kenny Pickett. What did you think of that, Hurt?
I mean, we all kind of figured out that they were going to pick a quarterback. I didn't know who it was. I didn't think Pickett was going to go this high. So, like you said, it wasn't okie doke. They got everybody because I didn't expect him to be the first one off the board and the only one off the board in round one in general. So, I can't even imagine the feeling of. I mean, you play in a stadium. That the team that you play in the stadium of gets to see you every week. So they know what they're in for. I feel like they would know him better than anybody else. So, I mean, it's good for that. Now, is he going to start right away? I don't think so. I think he's going to just kind of sit there. Now, again, not saying Mitchell Trubisky is going to be this runaway success, but I think Kenny Pickett, when I see him, he looks like a Steeler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Think so? Okay.
Yeah, he's a Steeler. I mean, but it's not going to be a day one starter guy. He's not.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Did you see a lot of Kenny Pickett?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, he had a tremendous season, but he had one of those Joe Burrow type came out of nowhere. I didn't know who you were until you came into the season and you started having the season you were having at Pittsburgh. Because I didn't know who Joe Burrow was until that season at LSU.
Right.
So Pickett had that kind of a season. The one thing I heard about Pickett was his hands were too small, and then when he had his pro days, his hands grew like a couple of centimeters, something crazy. Like, what do you have, a growth spurt? Like, what the heck are y'all talking about?
Oh, man.
Always so crazy when we get into, the NFL. And I swear, there's no other sport that pays attention to metrics when it comes to human beings. Ear size, eyebrows, everything matters in the NFL. It's crazy how they either can deconstruct you or reconstruct you depending on your measurables.
Right. It's so funny, man. It's so funny. Yeah, you're so right, yo, because you could take like for instance, the guy that the Ravens drafted, Tyler Lindenbaum, you know what I'm saying? Everything on film says this guy's one of the best center prospects in years. But his arms are too short. He weighs under 300 pounds. So there's all these question marks. This dude's had years of tape.
He went to Iowa.
Right.
He's going to be fine.
Right. Like, come on. Really?
If you go to Iowa and you're offensive lineman, you're going to get drafted. Period. Right. I mean, and you're going to be okay.
Right. But yet, if you're a shaky prospect, but you killed it at the combine, you run a 4.3 and you're 6'4" and you have all the measurables, right? All the desirable height and arm length and all that stuff. Oh, they'll it props you up. It's just so funny, man. It's so funny. It's so
funny. The one time you didn't do well during the season, but you did well, like you said, on the pro day.
Right.
So your draft prospects go up. Yeah. Or you had a pretty good season, but then they came and saw you, and all of a sudden you're slower than your 40 time would have suggest. And something wrong here or blah, blah, blah there. Even though you're a ball hawking safety, but you're slower than what you should be. So they don't know what to do with you. That always happens. But but honestly, a lot of these things come out because a lot of teams want to draft a certain player. So they'll put out information on him to dissuade other teams. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
It's a psych thing when it comes to the NFL. Yeah,
That's
we don't like this guy, or we love this guy.
right.
Man, I cannot wait. We want Trevor Penning. Man, that offensive tackle, that dude is great. And then comes time, somebody trades ahead of you, or they'll come and they'll trade for you to get somebody, and they're like, oh yeah, fall back, and that's not the guy you wanted anyway.
Right.
So yeah, it always happens. It always happens, but it's intriguing. But so you do like Tyler Linderbaum?
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, we might as well talk about our team's picks real quick. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, I totally forgot to keep going around the first round. So were there any like anything you were surprised about? Any picks you were just like, because I remember I don't think you were really interested in watching the draft at first.
Yeah, well, no, I knew I was always going to watch it. But no, normally I have like this excitement, like it's like like Christmas is coming. You know what I mean? Like that anticipation in it for whatever reason.
People in Vegas thought it was Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just didn't have that anticipation like I normally had. But once Thursday 8:00 hit, oh dude, I was ready. I was ready, man. And I was especially ready this year for my team because we're picking in the upper half of the draft, which we haven't done in a long time. So having that 14th pick, I was like, oh, the Ravens going to trade up, they're going to trade back, blah blah blah. So, speaking of the Ravens, with the 14th pick, they stayed at 14 and they drafted Kyle Hamilton. I
Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I didn't watch him. I didn't know anything about him. And, we just paid $70 million to a safety. We already have another safety under contract for the next 2-3 years. So I'm like, wow, why are we picking a safety? But when you watch this dude's like film and highlights and his measurables and, this dude could do it all, man. So I was like, wow.
I feel like they have a grounded kid who's a baller. Like he's going to come in and the coach is going to ask him to do something. He's going to do it. And he's going to make plays. And he could blitz and he could drop back into coverage. The thing is, you could probably use him as kind of like a joker. He's going to be wild. You can use him anywhere out there on the field. Okay. So, I'm seeing him because, of course, we play Notre Dame kind of almost every year now, the ACC. But, yeah, he's a baller. I was surprised that I really was thinking that we're going to get a DN here.
Right. That's what I thought.
Yeah, so I was a little bit surprised to get him, Kyle Hamilton, but he's the type of guy that the Ravens would get there. Like he fits their mold. Okay.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, experts say he's a top safety, in the draft this year. So that makes me feel good. But what didn't make me feel good, Hurt, is when I'm watching the screen. I can't remember if I was on the phone with you. No. I called you guys after because I was going through I was depressed. Because right after we draft Kyle Hamilton, I see number 23 Baltimore pop up on the screen. I'm like, what huh? How we get the 23rd pick? And my first thought was, okay, we must have really gave away a lot of our fourth round draft picks because we had 5 fourth rounders at the time. I was like, wow, man, we must have really gave up a lot to get back into the 23rd draft. I mean, 21st round, 23rd pick. Then comes on the screen, Ravens trade. Get 23rd pick, trade. Marquise Brown. What? Third round draft pick. I was like, huh?
Yeah, I know that hit you like,
dude, I hurt.
We were on the phone. We were on the phone when that happened.
What is going on? I could not believe what was happening. The Ravens just traded Hollywood Brown? Like, what? So I was in a state of shock, and that's when I called y'all. That's when I called you. You were talking to Dan. And Dan's asked me about the pick, and I told him, like, Dan, I'm not really concerned about the pick right now. I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna replace Hollywood. Apparently, y'all didn't know.
Because usually I break news to you,
right?
So the fact that this I had no idea. I mean, I was on my phone. I usually get news from, right. But I had no clue. As soon as I looked at my phone, I was like, oh wow, okay. Last season was his first 1,000-yard season.
Right.
He got 91 receptions, over 1,000 yards. He had 6 touchdowns. But man, I was I mean, this is your number one guy when it comes to wide receivers. But as you and you'll get into the story. It's weird. I feel like there's a different perception for us outside of watching the team. Even though we live in the same city, I pay no attention to what your team does.
Right.
But I didn't even know he had a 91 reception season.
Yeah,
I had no clue. So that's almost like his first 2 seasons combined. So he was actually, coming into his own, so to speak. But then I was just a little bit surprised for what you tell me, what actually happened. So
yeah,
get into that.
He wasn't happy, and basically he came to Eric DeCosta, our GM, at the end of the season, said he wanted to be traded. Eric didn't want to trade him. Hollywood was his very first pick as a GM. He didn't want to trade him, but Hollywood was insisting. They were like, "Okay, fine. We'll accommodate you." They really kept this under wraps. They did say they did talk to Lamar before the trade, so he wasn't caught off guard too much.
It seemed like it was.
But at the end of the day, this was initiated by Hollywood, and he's in a run-first offense. He said the system didn't fit him. Basically, he's in his third year. This is his last year, right?
Be paid,
and he's trying to get paid. He's going to the perfect offense because all they do is throw the ball up there in Arizona, that air raid offense. So he's being reunited with his old college quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
Kyler Murray.
And no, Hollywood is not a number one receiver, but he's a very good receiver. I mean, he does have some drops now and again, but even still, I mean, you look at his career with the Ravens. I think he's averaged like 6 or 7 touchdowns a year with us. I mean,
yeah.
So he's a good player. I'm gonna miss him. How we replace him, I guess that's going to be Rashad Bateman, but now we have to address wide receiver again. We do have some people in-house that I know we're going to utilize, but I don't know, man. That just kind of threw me off. But I will say this. Getting a first rounder for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because right after Hollywood got traded, Hurt, what happened after that?
I don't know.
AJ Brown got traded.
Oh, that. Oh, I was like, what happened?
Yeah,
I have purposely blocked that out of my head.
AJ Brown goes to the Eagles.
Yeah.
In exchange for that, for a first round pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Hollywood trade and the AJ Brown trade was very, very similar.
Yeah.
And but the Eagles immediately signed this guy to a 4-year, $100 million deal. Wow.
Yeah, they need to. It was a good trade for Philadelphia. I mean, they were smart. They needed that guy to go along with the guy they drafted from Alabama last year. So they're going to have a good receiving core. Their quarterback's coming along. They made the playoffs last season. So they've gotten better as a team, but they needed that guy. And A.J. Brown is, a guy who I'm sure wanted to leave, get out of that because he's not, his offense is run first for the most part.
Right.
So, going to a team where he believes, he's getting paid. That's number one. They can go do a job in a team that made the playoffs last season. So, So we'll see. Hopefully his production goes down and he doesn't do well. I'm hoping that's the case.
Man, you gotta like what the Eagles are doing, man. Now they got Devontae.
No, you don't. You don't need to like what the Eagles are doing at all. Not at all. I don't like it. They got a D tackle from Georgia, one of the top D tackles in Jordan Davis that they drafted.
They jumped in front of us. They were worried we were going to win.
Yep. And they've had a very interesting draft, but they did make their team stronger in the first round. And that trade was, one of the reasons. And then with that trade, Treylon Burks was drafted as a top wide receiver from Arkansas to go to Tennessee.
Right.
But it was a crazy first round. So my team had one pick. We traded back. I think we were 14.
No. Y'all were 11.
I was 11. Thank you. We're 11, and we traded with New Orleans, who drafted Chris Olave, wide receiver from the Ohio State University. We dropped back to 16, and we drafted Jahan Dotson, a wide receiver from the Penn State University. So, and I like this dude. He's a ball hog. Getting on the other side of my boy McLaren. We have a new quarterback. It's just that I obviously jinxed because I said I liked him 5 years ago, and we'll see how it goes. But I do like the pick. We need weapons. We need to score. I actually like the other picks we've had later on in the previous days. I got to get used to the whole W thing in our nickname, but they kept using it all weekend. So now it's HTTC. So, I'm trying.
I know, man. I know.
But yeah, it was good. I think the first round was shocking to me. For one thing, Green Bay didn't get a wide receiver. Mind you, there were 17 wide receivers taken in the first 3 rounds. They did finally get one, but it was like their first round was wide receiver central.
Yeah,
it was. They were just going out like, gnats. It was just so many of them just going. I was like, wide receiver. I mean, I think there was it was 3 in a row. It was Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave from the same team.
Right.
Jameson Williams went at number 10. So it was like 3 in a row. It was and Drake London was the first one off the board, I think, at number 8 from USC to the Falcons, who I guess are going with the quarterback they have and drafting a wide receiver, which still is a little weird in my eyes, but hey.
And who is their starting quarterback?
Marcus Mariota.
That's crazy, yo. That's crazy.
So I think I'm not sure if they did draft. Let me see. I feel like they did draft a quarterback in this draft. I'm not 1,000% sure.
I don't think so.
They did. They drafted in the 3rd round Desmond Ridder from
Cincinnati.
I had a feeling they did. I just couldn't remember who it was.
Okay.
So far, so good. But in the first couple rounds, of course, you guys have Kyle Hamilton. You got Tyler Linderbaum. You got your outside linebacker David Ajabo from Michigan, and you drafted the D tackle from UConn, Travis Jones. So how do you feel about that so far?
So David Ajabo, man. I mean, the Ravens want people before he got hurt. People were talking about him at 14 to the Ravens. Then, unfortunately, at his pro day, he tears his Achilles. I like this pick. I like it even more though if they draft another pass rusher because he's going to need some time to play. I do think he's going to play this year because when people think Achilles are like a season-ending injury, but if you do it early enough, you can come back.
Yeah.
Prime example. I remember the year we won the Super Bowl, Terrell Suggs, in May, tore his Achilles. Like, dang, man, this is it. This is it. But no, he came back in November and played the rest of the season. Just last year, Cam Akers, he tore his Achilles, and wound up playing in the Super Bowl. So you can come back, and he did it in March. So his pro day was in March. Yeah, and Achilles is typically about 6 months, but you still want to, be careful. And he's a rookie, but he might be ready to go in October, honestly. So it all depends on how the Ravens want to handle it. But I mean, before he got hurt, man, I think he had like 11 sacks, 5 forced fumbles last year. You have him and Odafe Oweh, man, bookend pass rushes. I'm really liking that, man. I'm really liking that. So, and of course, he was a steal because we got great value because of his injury. He slipped. So we just gotta, hope he gets back, gets healthy, and we'll see what happens. Travis Jones, I don't know too much about him, but apparently some people thought he was the second best defensive tackle after Jordan Davis. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Good. For us, of course, our first pick was Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver, Penn State. Like I said, I like him. He's fast, versatile. He can go in the slot. He could be a guy going down the middle of the field. He's part of the Penn State 4x100 relay team. So the dude is a baller. He's got good ball skills. He's 5'11". He's not too tall, but he can still be a target on the other side of McLaren. McLaren is kind of holding out currently, not really holding out. He's not at the non-voluntary, because he wants some new deals. All these wide receivers know that they're kind of valuable these days. So I'm not saying he's holding out because they haven't really started minicamp, but it's the voluntary workouts that he's not at. So
Mm.
we'll see as it goes further along. But he does want to get his contract extended.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him either. You gotta get your money when you get your money. So we'll see. And if Cam Sims is healthy, then it'd definitely be a really good wide receiver trio. We got Phidarian Mathis, defensive tackle from Alabama, because Lord knows we can't draft anybody else unless they're from Alabama or Ohio State.
And this next pick also, to your point.
Yeah. So, yeah, after I get from our D tackle, we needed depth at D tackle. After we lost got a free agency, we cut one of the other players. Deron Payne from Alabama is going to his last year of his contract, so we needed some depth at D tackle. So getting him and just listen to the phone call from Coach Rivera to his family was hilarious. And you would like it because they use a lot of SpongeBob on it. Because SpongeBob, I guess, you know how they go like, and 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
So he called him and he was like, Phidarian, this is Coach Rivera. Yes, sir. He's like, how would you like to be a commander? Yes, sir. He's like, all right, we're going to draft you for our next pick. Yes, sir. And then like 5 minutes later, you just hear his whole family going. And then it was like 10 minutes later, they're still screaming. He's like, Phidarian, yes, sir. Yeah. And you just hear him in the background. It's like 20 minutes later. And he's like, and coach is holding the phone. They're still just screaming. And they're like, "Can he hear you?" He's like, "I don't think they even know I'm still here." On the phone. It was the funniest thing ever. And I don't think he ever got. He's like, you know what? I'll call him back later. he had to end up hanging up because they were just So that's always good to see, and I always love hearing that sort of thing. And for our third pick, we got Brian Robinson Jr. from Alabama. We needed to. Antonio was hurt last season towards the end of the season, but we didn't have a proper backup for him.
Okay.
So having Brian Robinson Jr., who is the guy who sat behind Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, and Damian Harris, who got his chance last year, rushed for 1343 for Alabama. A good backup because we can't, Antonio's our guy, but we are a play action pass team, and especially now with Carson, that's definitely what they're going to go with. So we need somebody to spell Antonio and do the same things he does. So I think it was definitely a good pick here. We was round 3, number 98 overall, and adds to the depth. McKisson is a good run back, but he's more of a pass catcher. So it was good that we, re-signed him and we drafted this guy.
Okay.
We still got about, I think, like 5 more picks today. I think a couple in round 4, then 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So not too bad. But the draft was down this year. I think it was like 2.5 million less people were watching the draft.
Wow.
Yeah,
a lot, man.
Yeah, which for the NFL would seem like is a lot. Of course, it's still going to be like the highest rated thing, but from what I believe, is that they didn't have any big name quarterbacks. Like it really wasn't a draft where there was a Sunshine like last year, or I always call him Sunshine, or a couple of years ago when there was Joe Burrow. Right. I mean, those 2 years they averaged it was like 20 million people were watching. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this year we're just a lot lower because we didn't have that guy. I mean, Kenny Pickett is not really going to set the world on fire when it comes to having people turn in eyeballs because no one watched Pittsburgh. People watch Clemson. People watch, I think the top quarterbacks were not guys who were in the college football playoffs this past season. So, you're not going to get that same feeling. And a lot of teams didn't have first round picks, to be honest with you. So Chicago wasn't there. A lot of big markets weren't there. Miami will have a first round pick till 1905, till 2000, 25 or something. So Miami didn't have a first round pick. So those are a lot of big markets that didn't really have. That team in Texas only had one. So
yeah,
there's that. And he still wanted to draft Johnny Manziel. I heard. So overall, still a lot of work to do, and to make our teams where we want them to be. So it's still going to be exciting. And still some I think most of the quarterbacks, Malik Willis did get drafted.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Tennessee.
Tannehill's life expectancy as a quarterback is short.
Yeah.
So to get the guy who has the strongest arm, who has a big upside, that they could sit behind Tannehill, I think is the perfect place for him to be.
Why do you think Malik Willis dropped so much?
I think a lot of teams didn't want to have a project. I was surprised that Atlanta did get one in the third round and Desmond Ridder, but I was just looking at it like most of the teams have somebody, or they went out and got somebody free agency or traded for someone. So it wasn't a lot of places for him to go. And they didn't want to take him too high because this is the expectation of he's going to have to play for the most part. So I wasn't surprised that he kind of fell. I didn't think he was going to fall as low as he did. But I think he went to the correct place. I'm not sure what New Orleans – let me look at New Orleans draft.
Well, it's funny because he kept slipping and slipping. And I called my brother. I was like, hey, if – Malik Willis slips to the 4th round. Since the Ravens have 6 4th-round picks, would you think they should draft him? And I was like, why not? And he was like, yeah, why not? He was like, but he ain't gonna slip that far. But I'm just saying, if he does,
yeah,
I think the Ravens should pick him up. We got 6 4th-round picks, so. By the way, they're going to rename the 4th round to the Ravens round, by the way, just so you know. We have a pick every 5 to 8 picks. So I don't know if any team has ever had 6 picks in a round before. So
yeah, you got 110, 110, you got 119,
121.
No, you don't have 121. You have 128 and 130.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And my team has one at 113.
Okay.
Oh, no, we got a couple. 113 and 120.
Okay.
So, yeah, we got a couple in there. We're sandwiched in between the Giants. The Giants have a 112 and 114. So, so yeah, good draft talk. Good draft talk. So what would you like to see for your team in round 2? Not round 2. I mean the rest of the draft, I should say.
I would.
Yeah.
I want to see a running. I want to see a running back.
Okay.
I want to see a wide receiver. I want to see a pass rusher, offensive tackle, tight end, and corner.
Okay.
Yeah. All in the 4th round.
Yeah. Well, you have definitely enough picks there to get all of those things in that round.
Yep.
So that's good. I think offensive line. I really want to get offensive line depth. We always have injuries every year when it comes to offensive line. So offensive line. See playmaker, best available, whatever you got. But offensive line is to me the most important thing.
Yep.
So we'll go from there. All right, going from the NFL, we got to go to the NBA. But before we stop in NBA, I'm gonna make a quick pit stop, quick one.
Okay.
To the NHL. Their playoffs began. I want you to give me your pick on some of these games coming up in the first round matchups. Who you think is going to prevail? Mainly, of course, the Capitals. So,
yeah,
the Caps will start their playoff against the Florida Panthers. Ovechkin has been out with an injury. I think he might be okay when it starts. Who you got?
What seed is the?
They were like a wild card. They didn't really have like a seed. Panthers are higher seed.
Yeah, I don't like them playing the Panthers, man. That I don't know. I don't think they're gonna make it out this first round. I don't like that. Okay. But yeah, as soon as you told me they were playing the Panthers, I'm like, I don't like that, man. So yeah.
What about the defending champ Tampa Bay at Toronto?
I'll take Toronto in that series.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I'm taking Tampa Bay. I just think they have the experience. Toronto's good this year. The expectations on Toronto, who's the number 1 team in Canada, is always so large. It's it's hard for them to overcome that.
Yeah.
But forget all that. The team that's going to win in the first round and continue to win is New York Rangers.
Oh.
Where you starting at home. We got the Penguins. We'll get rid of them, and we'll go from there.
I was just dude. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say, I hope y'all had Pittsburgh. Man, I hope y'all had Pittsburgh. Please take them out. Please.
We will.
Thank you.
You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. Yeah, no, we won't waste your time. Everybody will be satisfied.
I cannot stand the Penguins, man.
So. Well, I just can't stand Sydney. But that's beside the point. All right. Basketball. A lot of things happened this past week since we talked from basketball. All of them made me happy.
Well, except one.
Well, which one?
Philly destroyed the Raptors.
Well, see, I'm not anti-Philly, the basketball team. Yeah, I'm not. I grew up loving Dr. J.
Okay.
So I like the basketball team. I'm like, in all seriousness, I'm not trying to sound mean or being a New Yorker that I am. But what has the 76ers basketball team ever done?
Yeah, that's a good point.
How do we ever be afraid of the 76ers basketball team?
Good point.
So in saying that, I don't have an issue with them winning, honestly. I thought they should win that series. They were the better team. The part that I was happy with is KD's gone home.
Yes.
4 straight.
Yes.
4 straight. 1, 2, 3 Cancun. So he's home. Kyrie's home. Ben Simmons and his back is home. I'm happy about that. The second thing I was happy about is Trae Young is home. So happy.
Yeah, I know you do not like that, dude.
I do. I'm not going to ever diss the man's talent. The kid is one of the most talented players in the NBA. He is. He led the league in total scoring this season. He's Trae Young is a bucket, but he's not Steph. So please, just until you start winning something, just calm down with the whole I like playing the villain. You can play the villain when you win championships. Because right now, you're just looking like the other guy who got eliminated last night, and that's Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley's gone home. So that makes me extremely excited as well, because I can't stand him at all. At all. So Pat Bev home, Kyrie, KD with the sweep, Trae Young. Only person I would want to go home worse than them is not worse than them, because those are the worst ones. But of course, I can't wait for James Harden to go home. So
okay,
we'll see. But yeah, so we got the second round coming out.
Yeah. So what's up?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, what are the second round matchups?
All right, we got Milwaukee and Boston.
Ooh.
We got Golden State, Memphis. We have Philly, Miami.
Okay.
We have Dallas and am I drawing a blank? Phoenix.
Oh wow, man! These are some good matchups, man.
Yeah. So let's start with, to me, the hardest one: Milwaukee and Boston. Who you got?
I hate to say this. I think I'm going to take Boston, yo. And the only reason why is because I don't know how long Middleton's going to be hurt for.
Yeah.
If he wasn't hurt, I would take the Bucks. But man, Boston showed me something, man, and I don't know. I don't like the role that they're on right now. I love the Bucks, but I think I'm gonna take Boston.
To me, Giannis is the best player. They're the defending champions. Boston is on a roll. They have confidence. Tatum was playing out of his mind. The team was playing well, but Tatum was that guy. I feel like the Celtics, especially with Middleton out, are the better team. But this is where my New Yorkerism comes in. I rooted for Boston to beat the Nets. I cannot root for Boston no longer.
Right. Absolutely.
So therefore, I have Milwaukee winning this series in 7.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be hard for them to D up and try to stop Giannis.
Okay.
So,
I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right.
Milwaukee in 7.
Okay.
Let's just keep it in the East. Sixers at Heat. And that starts on Monday.
You know what? I'm taking the Heat, man. Look, Embiid, he's hurt now. He has an orbital fracture. I think
he's out indefinitely.
He's out.
Indefinitely. Okay. He's got a mild concussion as well.
Damn.
Again, it's an orbital fracture. It wasn't like a bruise or so. They evaluated him, but they're not sure if surgery is going to be involved or not. Good. So this is, guess whose team it is? James Harden's team.
Big game James.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Even though I didn't like the way the Heat handled, I felt like they could have dispatched Atlanta earlier. I think the Heat are going to win this series especially if there's no Embiid.
Yeah.
All right, let's go out to the West, the best of the West. So Phoenix, Dallas. Now Phoenix got Devin Booker back, so that's good for them. Chris Paul,
good.
Who closed out Utah not Utah. Who did they close out? The Pelicans. Closed out the Pelicans. He was like 13-13 from the field. He had a perfect game, basically. Closing them out. Going into the series now against Dallas. Who you got?
All right. So Devin Booker, did he play? Has he played?
Game 6. He played game 6.
Okay. All right. And okay. Then I'm taking Phoenix.
I'm taking Phoenix. I mean, Luka, Dallas has got a good team. They got a good coach. I think Phoenix has the experience. I think Phoenix in 6.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, and the rest of the West, is Memphis, who's the higher seed, by the way, against Golden State. Memphis was 3-1 against Golden State during the regular season, and they have a lot of confidence going into Sunday's game against Golden State. Who you got, brother?
Man, I think this is gonna be my favorite matchup, man. This is
yes,
yeah. But I got
I think my second favorite.
Okay. I gotta take Golden State here only because, man, they have the experience. You know what I'm saying? Memphis. Look, man, it took two fourth quarter, rallies,
comebacks,
all these comebacks for them to barely beat Minnesota. Minnesota took, really tested them, and and like you said, hey, look, they were 3-1 against Golden State during the regular season, but the playoffs is something totally different, man. You got champions on this team. You got people who've been there, done that, know how to win. I'm just taking Golden State, man.
Yeah. The answer here is Golden State. I think Memphis has a lot of confidence. Remember, they still did. This is basically their first time in doing what they're doing, and it was a hard fought matchup with Minnesota. They have confidence. John Morant can play defense. One thing Steph Curry can't do. So that'll be helpful. But Golden State has a plethora of lineups to throw at you. If one isn't working, we'll go for small lineup. If that's not working, we'll go with, another lineup. They have guys off the bench. Curry was coming off the bench for a while.
Right.
Just so he can get healthy again. But Poole it could be a problem. Gary Payton II is a problem. They can throw bodies and people at you with matchups that I don't think Memphis can. So I think it's going to be a hard-fought series, but I do have Golden State winning. I'm going to say in 6.
So yeah, I think it's going to take 6 games.
So it'll be Golden State, Phoenix. We have, and you have Boston. I have Milwaukee, and we both got Miami. So we only disagree on one, which my disagreement is a lot to do with the fact that it's Boston.
Yeah.
But again, I was rooting for Boston like nobody's business. Like they were from Beantown against the Nets. I was just
against a New York team.
Hey. Whatever. Their stadium may be in New York, but their heart's in New Jersey.
Oh man.
I like that team. So I'm happy. I'm happy KD, who again, who's still a Twitter warrior. It's only ones he's gotten lately is on Twitter. But what are your thoughts on Brooklyn as a team? Now, do you think a lot of things that happened to them this year, besides injuries, KD missed a lot of the season because he was hurt. Kyrie missed a lot of the season because he wasn't vaccinated. And then the trade that happened to get Ben Simmons, who's been roasted. You know, tell somebody's been roasted. Ben Simmons has been roasted on social media. Do you think this team actually has a future to be the number one team in the East?
Nope. They're always going to be a mess, man. They're a mess. When you got Kyrie, who's just all over the place, you got KD, who's great player, still very hypersensitive.
Just a tad.
Yeah. And then you got Ben Simmons, who, well, I'm not going to say, but he's just got a lot going on, man. He just has a lot going on. It's just too much. This team's just a mess. It's a mess.
It's a mess. It's one of those. It's one of those things that that you can't get past. There's something. Not even Steve Nash's job, even though he's basically a coach that had no real coaching experience on that team, but to try to handle two of the biggest, I would say, self-conscious players in the NBA is very, I'll call that very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So now the funniest thing was there was a picture of Ben Simmons, and it said, he said he's the ideal man for a woman to date.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, ideal man for a woman to date. Yeah, because he ain't gonna play any games.
Oh my god!
For that, and I couldn't stop laughing for like 30
Oh my gosh! Yo.
I was so mad because I was like, ideal man for women. Like, what are you talking? I was like, why? I'm like, because he won't play any games. I was like, you know what? I had to laugh, dude. I had to laugh.
Oh, yeah.
History, like many times as he's reneged on his Australian teammates, on Sixers, in college, wherever, it seemed like he's always kind of backed out of doing anything. And it was like, wow, dude. They had I think you watched the show The Office.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They had the scene where I guess I don't know. You saw it, dude. That was.
They were, yeah. So that was the scene when they were on the bus.
Yeah. That was like, what? What was it? My name is Kevin. Yeah. So no, we are the best. Yeah. My name is Kevin. Yeah, because that's my name. Yeah. Roll call. And then the guy came on the bench. He's like, "Ooh, and it was just dude in the suit, like, oh, I'm just playing hooky from work." And it was Ben Simmons' face. He's like, "Oh man." That was funny.
Dude, yeah, I don't know how they thought of that, but yo, that was just perfect. They had Charles driving the bus.
Yeah, because KD called Charles a bus rider.
Oh,
so that's why they had Charles driving the bus, which TNT has the best. They have the best studio sports show. Period. I think they actually forget NFL. Anything else, I think those four guys, Ernie, Chuck, Kenny, and Shaq, are the perfect four people on TV together.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's on Fox or CBS, NFL Network, ESPN. Those four guys are the best four guys other than College Game Day for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they are all hilarious. All hilarious. But I still think I really don't like people taking shots at Chuck. It does bother me a little bit though, because I feel like people don't realize how great a player he was.
Yeah.
And at the end of his career, he did go to Houston, but it's like, so I mean, that's the end of his career. He still took a Phoenix team to a finals. Right, He was doing great with the 76ers. Like that dude was still Charles Barkley. So,
right.
I don't know. But yeah, that was fun. So we'll see. We shall see. Man, we got most of the sports down. We missing anything?
No, man.
I didn't get to watch episode 5 yet of
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. Did you watch it yet?
Yeah, I'm really curious to get your take on it. Well, I guess we'll just talk next time. We'll talk about the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, because the last one's coming up this week, so we'll just get our whole synopsis of the series. I did watch Survivor this week, which was a surprise double elimination.
Yeah.
Sound a little bit sad, man.
No, it's not that. It's just, I don't appreciate when issues of race come up on Survivor, people take issue with it. We've had back-to-back seasons now where we've had African Americans bring up issues of race, which affects them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear so many people trying to invalidate their experience or their feelings just because they're talking about race. As Black people, we identify with our Blackness. It's a big part of our experience. So when we bring it up, even in the context of the game, don't try to invalidate how we feel. And I just don't like all this backlash, especially in social media. Oh, this is, we don't need to bring race into Survivor. This is a game. This is Survivor. No. These are real people playing a game who are Black, who have this experience, who, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Don't try to invalidate how we're feeling, or if we see something and we respond in a certain way because it triggers certain things that we've experienced. And I just hate that people try to bring up the point, this doesn't belong in Survivor. It's, this is a game.
Yeah, the real world, your experiences, your life, what stuff that you've been through doesn't belong.
Right, and it just pisses me off because it's only when race is brought up that we get all this backlash. I watch Survivor to get away from politics and real world. First of all, racial issues isn't political. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not.
It's only political. It's only political because there's a certain segment of our society that made it that way. This is stuff, and this is stuff that we live with every day, that we carry with us every day. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just get sick and tired of people trying to invalidate our feelings and our experiences just because you don't understand it and because you're not Black. If you don't understand, that's fine. Let's have a conversation so that you can try to understand.
Yep.
But don't sit up here and tell me, oh, we can't bring up issues of race.
Well, again,
when we do, we're calling other people racist. No, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? It's so this Survivor episode really it just hit a nerve with me because I knew what the response was going to be. And mind you, Drea was right, by the way. She was right. She went to tribal council. She saw 2 Black faces, you know what I'm saying, sitting there, one of which was her number 1 alliance member who got blindsided. She said, you know what? Representation is important to me. I'm not going to be the next Black person voted out. I'm playing my idol. And guess what, Hurt? She was the target. Right? So her Spidey senses went off. Not saying that they were saying that the people
her Black senses went off.
Right. Not saying that the people who voted out were racially motivated. Nobody's saying that. She was just saying, I ain't gonna be the next one. Because as a Black person, it's important to me not only to win this game for $1 million, but to represent and move forward in this game.
Yep.
And people try to turn it around and say, oh, so now you're saying that when Black people getting voted out, it's racist. She never said that.
Nope.
She never said that. So anyway, I could go on and on and on about this, but it just.
No, but we know through the history of shows that we've watched, being Black people, and you can go look at it where we've been on there, who's been voted out first.
Right. I could give you countless examples on Survivor alone.
Oh, of course, of course, because
Black people are the first people voted out.
Yeah. And also how we're portrayed.
Right, how we're portrayed.
And I think I had the issue. That's why I kind of went away from the show for a little bit, because I didn't like how we were portrayed on the show for a long period of time.
Exactly.
So it was never, we were never the helpful, strong, or whatever. It was like, we got to be like Philip.
Right.
And I didn't like, kind of like, I feel like how they portrayed Philip either in a way.
Right.
Like he was being controlled by that rat bastard ass Rob.
Right.
From Boston, who I don't like.
Right. So just to give a couple of examples, right? And I'm not saying this is racially motivated, but just give you a couple of examples. Season 39, right? So very diverse cast. You get to the merge, 3 black people in a row get voted out. You had Aaron, you had Missy, and Jamal voted out. Season 40, right? Very few black people in that show. Jeremy, one of my all-time favorites, and Wendell, one of my all-time favorites. The moment they get to the merge, right? What was the talk? Oh, we can't let Jeremy and Wendell get together. Jeremy and Wendell talk during the show. Look, man, we cool, but we can't be seen together.
Exactly. I do remember that. Like, we can't be seen talking to each other.
Right.
It's gonna be the black people gonna stick together.
Exactly. And that happened right when they got to the merge. So now, here we go. Season 42. And I'm not even going to talk about last season, because last season people complained it was racist when 4 black people got together to make an alliance. So
right. That's never happened on the other side.
Right. So it's just I just hate it. So now this season, same thing. We got Chantel. I don't have any problems with her getting voted out. She was sneaky. She was a threat. Fine. But then Roxroy gets voted out. Like, wait a minute. We made this alliance of 8. Why are we voting on one of our alliance members? Now, granted, he messed himself up talking about a men's alliance. That was so stupid.
Yeah.
Roxroy. But he's like an old school type of player. You know, I don't even really consider him a new school type of player. He was trying to strategize, but
the way he went about it was incorrect.
Dude, all males, no. Yeah. That does not work on Survivor.
Never
does not work.
Never has.
Right. So then Drea, it's like, I don't want to be the next one. And then what trips me out, right? People will complain about, oh, this is race. Oh, why you got to bring race into it? Well, explain to me this. Why Drea was the target? I have no problem with her being the target, because, dude, she's got like every advantage in the history of the game.
9,000 idols.
Right. So if you want to blindside her, go ahead and blindside her. But then please explain to me why Marianne was the decoy vote. Makes absolutely no sense. So the dude on her alliance wants to make her the decoy vote. Why?
Yeah.
There's no need to. Make Tori the decoy vote. She's not on your alliance.
No, and they wanted her gone in the first place.
Right. So it's little things like that. So when people come up and say, oh, you know, keep race out of this, no, I don't want to hear that. And the shame of it is, Marianne then they both have to play their idols, because in the real world, they don't want to be seen as using the race card, which pisses me off, because black people don't want to use that card.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
It pisses me off. You talk to black people, black people don't want to be given anything because of their race. That's our fight. We want to be looked at as, we don't want you to look at our race.
Yeah.
We want to earn everything that we have. But yet they have to play their idols, because they know they brought up race. They know it's going to be perceived as, oh, they're playing a race card.
Yep.
So in order to shut all that down, it's like, look, we playing idols anyway. Because I don't want anybody to say, hey, we was trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's like all this type of stuff that other players don't have to think about. We have to think about all these nuances, yo. And if you're not black, you're not going to understand. It's hard to explain. But if you want to have a legitimate conversation, we can kind of break it down to you. But don't just shut us down and act like how we're feeling is not real. It's not real. And this is something we carry with us every single day of our lives.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm just really passionate about this hurt, because seeing the backlash.
But you know, that's how it's always going to be. Again, It was backlash last year because there was more minorities on the show.
Right.
So it was just like, well, why can't we have more representation, period, on TV?
Right.
Period. The whole world isn't full of white people.
Right.
Or full of whoever. It's full of everybody.
Right. And honestly here, that's one of the reasons why I'm loving the season, because it's so diverse. I mean, we only have 3 black people on the season, but I'm not complaining because we have
more. You mean like left?
No, this season we had Roxroy, Drea, and who was the other one?
Marianne.
Oh yeah, that's right. Chantel, Marianne. All right, 4 black people. All right, but so out of 18 people, there are 4 black people. I'm fine with that. You know why? Because we have Omar. You know what I'm saying? Who's Muslim? He's great. We got High Asian. We have Romeo. From El Salvador. Like this is so cool.
It's a whole plethora of people.
Yeah. Right. We got Mike, Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? Marianne, I'm not Marianne, but Mariah, I think she was black too, so I take that back. But anyway, you got all these diverse people.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you have all this representation, all this different type of representation. That's what we should see in our
better show.
Yes.
And it brings everybody in, and it should be fun, and it's fun to watch.
Right. I don't want to see a show with all black people. I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see a shirt with all black people either.
Right. I want to see a show of a mixture of
what I grew up with and what's around me.
Right. I just want to see a picture of all different types of people, races, ethnicities, personalities. You know what I mean? That's what you want to see. But I don't know.
No, I get you. I agree.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm sorry. This episode really hit me because I understand. In that moment, I understood. You understood too. When Drea looks over and she sees 2 black people in that jury, you know exactly what she's thinking.
But it's like we said, we could be on the phone and be like, oh, we know what's going to happen. Why should we feel like we know what's going to happen?
Right.
Again, and there's some things that I'm not saying, and we know as black people, there's people in this world, people we know, people we're cool with, people we see every day, aren't racist, but it's an inherent thing where you're more comfortable around your own people, so to speak.
Right.
So it was just like, wait, when I look at this alliance, who should I be with? It takes an extraordinary amount for a person to look beyond that and just see the person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that has happened. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but it's hard, like you said, why choose Marianne when she was never a target or a threat to anyone in the first place? You're supposed to get rid of threats. Hey,
it's her on the line.
This person, Tori. When did Marianne win anything?
It's
Tori was winning what? She won like 2 in a row, I think.
Right.
Immunity Idols. So let's focus on who we need to get out.
Exactly.
Oh well, we'll just do it this way. Why would you think that? Why would that come in your head? You know what I'm saying?
Right, and I don't have any problem with them saying, you know what, let's get out Dre. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Because if I'm them, I'm trying to get Dre out too.
I mean, you're trying to win the game, but it's like you should go about it to me the correct way.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Yeah.
Good talk.
Yeah.
Man, at least you got fired up. You're awake now, so that's good. I'm glad. So, but thank you everybody for our Saturday edition of the show. Back, it's good being on Saturday. That's where we started. I'm way better on Saturdays than I am on Sundays. So as you can see, the sound of my voice. Definitely more excited. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Of course, the NFL draft is now live. We're in round 4.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh shoot,
going on right now. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock as we speak. So thank you, of course. We're on StreamYard, YouTube. Subscribe and like, as well as IG, Facebook, and Elon Musk Twitter. And you can find us on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts. You will find us, the NY2MD Podcast. Thank you, everybody. Have a splendid weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out, y'all.